Hey there, fellow classic comic collectors. As always, I'm Scott Harris King, and today, big excitement for everybody because I'm back here with a brand new store visit to a brand new store. Well, it's not a new store, but it's new to you guys. It's called Comic Book Palace in Haverhill, Mass. Now, I've been to Comic Book Palace before, but it was before I was doing the YouTube videos. So it's been several years since I've been there. Went back there. Let's put it right up here on the map. It's real easy to get to. It's right off of 495, like less than a mile off of 495. Real easy. So anyone that's going up 495, up and down the coast near Boston, whatever, very simple to get to this, and it's a really cool shop. Didn't get any video footage of it, but I did buy a bunch of stuff that I'm going to show you off here. Real quick, before I jump into all the cool stuff I'm about to show you that I got at the comic store, I did want to mention real quick that there's less than a week left on my current Kickstarter. It's for my epic fantasy swords and sorcery hack and slash adventure quest number 3. And if you've missed the first 2 issues, you can catch up on the whole thing. I just want to mention that again. We have less than a week left. On Friday, we're going to be doing a live stream, so everyone's welcome to join me for that. And we're still a ways away from funding, so this is going to go right down to the last few minutes. If you dig those sort of comics, sort of Bronze Age style fantasy comics, then check it out. I'll have the link down below because I think you'll dig it. Okay, now, having said that, let's get to the store. So, store's got a lot of really cool back issues. It's got a lot of other stuff, it's got a lot of stuff that you would find in comic stores these days, a lot of like Magic the Gathering and those sort of things, but it has a ton of back issues, quite a nice selection, and the prices were really good as well. So had a lot of fun going through stuff, but the store also had one of my favorite things. It had 50-cent boxes. It had a bunch of long boxes on the floor, 50 cents each. They had a lot of good stuff in them. So I ended up buying a ton of stuff out of the 50-cent bins. My wife also bought a bunch of stuff. So I just want to mention she got some cool newer indie stuff, some stuff from Image and whatever. I forgot to bring that stuff up here. We also got some stuff from the 50-cent bin that she ended up buying that I found that I thought would be fun. Her brother, my brother-in-law, big Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan, and so we got him some fun stuff there. Some of the the 80s indie boom, there were all these parody comics that were riffing on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and they happen to have several different ones, including some that I haven't, that are some that you guys would know, but then some other really obscure ones. So we got 3 or 4 of those, so that was a lot of fun. She has those, so I won't be showing them. But I got a ton of stuff, and there's a few different categories. So, as you know, we just hit 1,000 subscribers, right? And I'm doing 3 mystery boxes, and had a bunch of life stuff happen this week. As part of why this video is late, it's just been, this week has been crazy. And I haven't sent them out yet, but I've got them mostly packed up. I've got, like, you can't see it here, but next to me I've got like 3 boxes laid out that are mostly full of comics, right? And I just haven't had a chance to actually get to the post office and mail them out. But the 3 winners had sent me their list of what they like. And some of the stuff I had, some stuff I had less of. So when I was going through these 50-cent bins, I was like, wait a minute. I know that some of the people watching my videos who've been supporting me on YouTube, who have these mystery boxes, there's certain things that they're looking for. So I picked up a few things that I'm going to be immediately giving away. It's supposed to be a mystery box, so I probably shouldn't show them, but I'm going to show them. I'm not going to tell you which box they're going in, so you'll still have a surprise whether you're getting any of these, because there were some people that had some overlapping fields of interest, including some books I wouldn't necessarily be, in my top 20 things I would expect people to have. But got some cool stuff there. I got some cool, like, random miscellaneous stuff that I thought was really neat. And then I actually also got a couple issues from that I needed. Now, as you know, I have some pretty oddball taste in comics. It's hard for me to find stuff that I need other than, still have quite a few issues of Archie at Riverdale High, for instance, that I still run into. But for most part, A lot of my tastes are a little more obscure, and so finding stuff like, particularly in dollar bins or 50-cent bins, that I actually need for my collection, that doesn't happen very often. But I got some really cool stuff here, a couple things that are really hard to find, so I was very excited to get them. And then finally, big excitement here. As you know, I love going through dollar bins and 50-cent bins to try and find comics that are worth money. It's just a fun chase for me. I've had the dollar bin trading challenge, which I've been doing for a couple of years now, and I'll have an update on that soon. I've been a bit stuck with it, to be honest. Um, but it's been quite a while since I've found anything in a 50-cent bin or a dollar bin that's like worth a lot. I found a lot of stuff in bins that were like, maybe $8, $10 bins or books. But I haven't found anything in quite a while that's like valuable. But I found something here. So that's going to be the last thing I show because I was very excited to get it. It's a book that I know some of you are going to dig. I don't know yet. I haven't decided what exactly I'm going to do with it, but it's very exciting. So I'm going to show you all that. I did get just a couple things that weren't from the 50-cent bins. It's two copies of the same thing, a low grade copy and a nice higher grade copy. I wouldn't say it's like a high grade copy, but it's a higher grade. One of these books that's like a 7.5 or 8 might be higher than an 8. Real nice looking. Anyway, it's two copies of X-Men 184. As you can see, it says the sticker here, first appearance of Forge, which is why every time I go to a store, if it happens to occur to me, I'm trying to find something to buy because I do want to support the stores. I always look for X-Men 184. You can see they're also both newsstand, which for this time isn't really that rare, particularly with X-Men. They're selling 400,000 copies a month at this point. So, a lot of those were going to be newsstand copies. But still cool to have these. I don't know how many copies of X-Men 184 I have at this point. I think probably 7 or 8. But Forge is my favorite X-Men member. I do like Cyclops quite a bit. And back in the day, I was a big fan of Shadowcat. But Forge is my favorite member of the X-Men. And, when you have an X-Men first appearance that's still not worth anything, there's always a room for growth. So between me liking the character and these still being really cheap, I have to say these were a good deal. The low grade one was 3, the higher grade one was 8. The other copies that I've been buying, I've been seeing a lot at 10 or 15 for the nice copies. So I thought this was a real good deal. So I'm going to put this in my bin with my other X-Men 184s. So that's just a little bit of light speculation. I always say if you're going to speculate, do it on books that you don't mind keeping. I have like several copies of the first appearance of Warlord, right? Because I love the character. So if it goes up, great. If it doesn't, still great because I love the character. And speaking of Warlord, let's jump into the 50-cent bins. I'm going to start off with the books that I got for the mystery boxes for the other people. I got some cool stuff. I'm a huge fan of Warlord, as you guys know. We got a couple from the era when I started collecting. Now, this is issue 80. My first issue was 90. But it was the same storyline. So here's Warlord 80, nice copy of that. And also the end of that storyline, Warlord number 100, which has this cool Mike Grell cover, double-sized. End of the storyline that started, I think, in issue 75. So it was like a really long, big, epic saga. And we have the finale here. So that's a cool book. Speaking of books that are just before I got into them, it's G.I. Joe 33. And my first issue of G.I. Joe, I think, was 35 when I was buying these new off the stands. So you can see this has got its roll. This is a lower grade, but this is sort of like, prime G.I. Joe era here. First 50 issues, I think are cool. I'm not a fan of Serpentor. I thought the series sort of went downhill around after issue 50, and I pretty quickly quit reading it after issue 50. But cool era for G.I. Joe right there. Here's a cool book. Now I already have a copy of this, but I bought another one again for some of my people out there. I just did a video about the Spire Christian comics, and I have most of the Archies, but not all of them. But they had some of them here. Again, no spoilers, but we're going to see some more in here that I've never seen before. And I was so excited to get this one. I picked up to pass on to someone else because I already have one. But it's cool to see these. Other people had someone that was a couple people interested in issues of X-Men, and they happen to have an Uncanny X-Men, or which I consider to be the real title. It's issue 336. This is right before I quit buying X-Men. My last issue was 355 or something like that. It got bad real quick. You can see it's Onslaught Phase 2. The series is not worth reading at this point. But I say that as I'm about to give it to somebody as a prize, right? People that like X-Men, will hopefully like it. Something that's really awesome that is X-Men related, a book that I have multiple copies of, just had to get for 50 cents each. They actually had several of these, so I bought 2 copies of one of my favorite comics of all time. It's the New Mutants 1985 special edition, extra giant-sized story with Art Adams art. You got a great. See if I can do this here. No, I got that backwards. Hold on. Let's see. Backwards. No. This is tricky to do in the mirror. Yeah, here we go. Okay, here we go. There we go. There we go. The wraparound cover. Anyway, I got 2 of these. I love this story. Mine, of course, is signed by Chris Claremont, and it's signed by Art Adams. And this was like a formative sort of comic book. I literally read the cover off of my original copy of this. But the art in here, like the splash page of Storm fighting the Asgardians, she's got the sword, like it's absolutely awesome, and the art in here is just incredible. So again, 50 cents each for one of my favorite comics. I was going to buy those regardless of whether I have the mystery box, because I know at some point I would be passing them on to somebody that would appreciate them. One of the people with the mystery boxes wanted stuff from Predator, happened to have an issue of Predator, so I grabbed that. Batman fan, so we got a Detective Comics 605. There's a lot of Batman comics, and they're not that hard to find. So they had other stuff in the 50-cent bins, but I wanted something from the main titles. Batman, Detective, not from one of these goofy, the 15th title they were putting out in 2009. I wanted something from the real series. So, I ended up with that one. So hopefully people will dig these. And if you're watching and you're getting a mystery box, again, you may or may not get any of these because there's 3 mystery boxes, but you might get some of them, and hopefully you'll like them. Then I picked up a few things that I just thought were fun or whatever, so let's dig into those. And here's something that's not actually a comic, and I actually hated this magazine at the time, but now I think it's sort of fun to look back. And for 50 cents, I thought it would be fun. Maybe I'll do a whole video on this if you guys. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you want me to do a video about Wizard number 3. So they had a couple other Wizard issues, and the earlier ones, the early issues of Wizard, they all have like the hot artists at the time, which is like the Image guys, and they had like their Wizard sort of mascot, which was like had the classic like hat and robe with the stars and moons and stuff on it, and then they had like the heroes messing with something like that. So here's Wolverine, and he's just shredded the Wizard outfit. This is Eric Larson, I'm pretty sure. You can barely read the signature, but the art style is pretty obvious that it's Eric Larson from the time period. So again, it's the 3rd issue, November 91. It's very formative period. Image is about to be formed, and the Speculator era really takes off, I think, with Wizard magazine coming into existence, and just the hype of those guys and the Image 7 and all that stuff. And so I thought it would be fun to sort of look at the sort of in on the ground floor of that, like how that all got going. I was in high school. I was a senior in high school. Just started my senior year when this came out, right? So I have a lot of very strong memories of going to the comic stores at that time with people. So again, 50 cents. Pick it up. Let me know down below if you want me to do like a go through this in detail in a like spotlight video. This is gonna go in my speculation bin. I've got like a 50 cent, like a dollar bin speculation. If I find books in dollar bins that I think have a potential to go up, I'll get them. I'll sock them away. Who knows? 5 years, 10 years, whenever from now, maybe they'll be worth something. So here's Archer and Armstrong number 0. First appearance of Archer and Armstrong. It's got art by Barry Windsor Smith. And, these characters are, I would say they're not like top tier Valiant characters, but they're sort of a solid second tier. They've had revivals a number of times. They had their own series a number of times. They're sort of, again, they're like second level characters. It's like the Daredevil of the Valiant universe. It's not Spider-Man, but it's an important part of the Valiant universe. And so these characters, as long as if Valiant ever becomes relevant again, there's a chance that these guys will become relevant. And so, 50 cents, it's not exactly, it's kind of a no-brainer to just drop 2 quarters on the possibility that this might be a key book at some point. They had Archer and Armstrong 1 as well, but I just went with number 0 because it's the first appearance. Speaking of first issues, they actually had several. They had a lot of stuff actually from the 80s, including a lot of like first issues and stuff of like sort of indie books and things. This one I got just for the funkiness of it. I don't think I've ever seen this. It's New Triumph. That's the name of the series. So New Triumph Comics featuring Northgard, which is a Canadian superhero. Never seen this before. It's from, let's see. I'm trying to see if there's a date. Actually, I don't see a date in here. Yeah, I'm not sure when it's from. There's no date. It's $1.50 US, but it's an indie book. I mean, I'm guessing it's like 84 to 86, sort of right in the middle of the indie boom. But this is, it's a funky indie book that I've never seen, so we're going to pick that up, again, for 50 cents. I know people that absolutely swear by Doug Mensch, and here's one called Aztec Ace, which I have an interest in. I've done a little bit of research on it. I know there's a little bit about it, but, my wife's family, some of them are indigenous from Southern California, and so the sort of Mesoamerican sort of history and cultures and stuff are of personal interest. So those cultures represented in comics. Now, that's not exactly what's actually happening in this series. Which is why I haven't aggressively tried to find it before. Like, seen in my previous videos, I was trying to put together a series of Scout for my father-in-law. This is something that is sort of tangentially related, but again, I also know people that swear by everything Doug Mensch does. And so, again, at first issue, it's like an extra thick first issue. It's got artist is Michael Hernandez, but it's got Nestor Redondo on inks, Adam Kubert, very young Adam Kubert, doing the lettering. Cat Ironwood is the editor. It's got a really strong team, and I've heard good things about the series, so we're looking forward to reading that. I picked up a couple of these recently, but they had issue 1. They didn't have any of the other issues, but it's Protectors number 1. Now, there were multiple versions of Protectors 1. This is one of the dumbest first issue like variant gimmicks, because we're at the like very, this is early 90s, we're sort of at the beginning of like variant cover culture, and they haven't quite figured out what to do. Like Legends of the Dark Knight had um, four identical covers that were just different colors. This one, it's the same cover, and it's just this outer piece of paper that's stapled onto it that's a different color. So there's a yellow version, there's a red version, there's a green version, and it's just this flap. So like I don't know, it seems goofy, but anyways, Protectors number one. Protectors, as I mentioned before, it's of interest to me because it's a series that uses it's a revival of a bunch of Golden Age public domain superhero characters from Centaur Comics, and I had the whole series because I was buying it as it was coming out. So I collected this. I didn't know at the time that they were public domain, but I thought the series was cool. Um, and I was just actually doing some reading on it here. I have forgotten how it ends, but I'm really looking forward to putting the whole series together, piece by piece, out of 50-cent bins and dollar bins, which is what I've been doing over the last few months. I've only got 3 or 4 of them so far, but I've started to find them. Because basically at the end of the series, the bad guy destroys the planet, destroys the Earth. So not only does the superheroes lose, the entire Earth is destroyed. That's how the series ends. They're like in the middle of a storyline, and then the writer basically knew that they were getting canceled, and so he just wrote a story where the bad guy just blows the whole planet up and kills all of humanity. So that's a surprising way to end your series. Is your superheroes don't just fail, it results in the destruction of their universe. So I'm curious to sort of piece the rest of this together. I mean, there's some very 90s artwork and stuff in it, but it's again, the public domain stuff is of interest to me. Also of interest to me, of course, had to get this. I may already have this because I do have some issues, at least one other issue of this already, but it's Star Blazers number one. Now I'm a big Star Blazers fan. You know, Star Blazers was a very formative experience for me. I've talked about it on here before, but watching Star Blazers, it was in, I think it was the 3 o'clock slot in the afternoon every day after school. So you would run home from school up here in the Boston area. This is like 1980, right? 80, 81. You'd run home from school so you could see Star Blazers at 3 o'clock. And then at 3:30 was Force 5, which every day of the week was a different giant robot anime series. But Star Blazers is there every day, and Star Blazers is like the best. Now, they never showed season 3 of Star Blazers up here. And then, you know, by like 83 or whatever, those slots have been taken over by the new like GI Joe and then later Transformers cartoon block. But in the early 80s, when I was a kid, Star Blazers was the jam, and it like the story it holds up. The story holds up. It's absolutely fantastic. So when I see the comic again for 50 cents, it's just pure nostalgia hit. Okay, so now we're getting to the end, and here's the stuff that I needed for my collection. There's 2 of these. Here's the first one. It's Archie's Sunshine. Now both the ones I'm going to show you are Archie Christian Spire comics that I've never seen before, because if I had seen them before, I would have got them. And they're 2 of like the 3 hardest ones to get. The other one I'm going to show you, I think, is the hardest of them all. So here's Archie's Sunshine. This is a 39-cent version, so it's like the first printing. So really cool to get that. Haven't read them yet. I've read the other ones, actually. Not all of the Christian, like I've got over 30 of the Spire comics. I haven't read them all, but I've read all the Archie ones. But I haven't read this yet. I just got this yesterday, so I haven't had a chance to dig into it. And then here's what I think is the hardest of the Archie Christian comics to find, and it's a 48-page giant. It is Christmas with Archie. Now, Archie comics, particularly at this time, they had a well-established history of Christmas-themed comics, and this Christmas logo is the one that they use for the Archie comics. And so every year at Christmas, you get multiple Christmas specials from Archie. There would be Archie's like Christmas Lovin' and Betty and Veronica Christmas and Archie Christmas and a bunch of different Christmas specials every year, right? So I have a suspicion that with this one, they were probably like, well, we're doing all these Christmas stories. Let's do one that really gets into the story of Christmas, right? So I'm certain there's going to be a lot of stuff about the birth of Jesus and stuff in here that you don't get in the other ones, because the other ones are about, elves and, presents and, people, the gang is giving each other gifts, and Archie's gift for Veronica isn't very good, or he gives Betty and Veronica the same present and all that crap, right? But this is going to be about the true meaning of Christmas or whatever. Never seen it before, so very excited for this. I'm still missing, I think, 3, maybe 4, but I think 3 of the Archies I'm still missing, the Archie Spires. And the one that I've heard is really hard to find that I've never seen is called Archie's Sports Scene. The only place I've seen it is on eBay. Someone actually had an unopened case where they were selling the whole case. So you got this comic that's really hard to find, and then someone just drops where they're going to sell an entire unopened mint case of them with 100 copies in it. But I think those people would have been better off breaking it up and selling them one at a time, and they could have made a lot more money. But I don't have the money to buy a case of 100 of these things, so still looking in the wild for that, but really excited to get this checked off. So that was just really cool, because being able to get stuff that I need for my checklist from a 50-cent bin is about as good as it gets. Okay, I promised there was something that was worth money, and this was the first thing I saw. The first book, when I looked in the 50-cent bin, this was the one in the front. And it is a actually quite decent, it's got a ding on the spine, but considering it's been in a 50-cent bin and it has a black cover, it's actually in pretty nice shape. It's Crossfire number 12, which has a Dave Stevens cover about the death of Marilyn Monroe. So obviously Dave Stevens covers do very well, and he's known for drawing beautiful women. This one's pretty morbid because it's his Marilyn Monroe cover, but she's dead on the cover. And so there's a big cross interest in this cover because it's both the Dave Stevens cheesecake collectors, but also the Marilyn Monroe collectors. And so they all both come together in this. So yesterday I was looking at eBay sales. There's some real outliers recently, because there's people that don't know it's worth money. So they'll put it up for buy it now for $5. There was a couple of those. But I looked at the sales for the last 2 or 3 months. This consistently has been selling, depending on condition and just whatever the factors are, across the board for between, if you factor in the shipping, between $60 and $125 per copy. And this is a nice copy. Again, there's a ding on the spine right here, but you can see it's actually pretty nice for a copy there. Now, it used to be, 6-8 years ago, you could get Dave Stevens covers in dollar bins here and there. I had a number of Dave Stevens covers in my previous dollar bin trading challenges. Those are all books, of course, that I got for $1. But that's changed now, and I've never actually seen this book before. There are Dave Stevens covers you see more often, and then there's ones that you see less often. I've never seen this. Not too long ago, I got a whole run of Crossfire out of a 50-cent bin, and this one was missing. So it had most of the rest of the series, but it was missing this one because someone cherry picked it because it's worth money. So I was gobsmacked to see this right in the window, first book in the 50-cent bins. And I have to say, they have a lot of 50-cent bins, a lot of very cool stuff, a lot of cool 80s stuff in those 50-cent bins at this store. So you definitely recommend going. I'm too old and decrepit to get down on the floor to look through them all, and they're too heavy because they're long boxes for me to lift them up. So I did not get through all of them. I only got through what I did was I scanned the from standing, I scanned the tops to see what color the pages were. And when I saw sections that were older looking, like newsprint sort of look instead of newer ones, I pulled that section out because I don't care about the newer stuff as much. But there's a lot of stuff in those bins that I didn't get to. But I'm super excited about the stuff I did get to. Again, some really neat, just funky books like the Archer and Armstrong, the Aztec Ace, the Star Blazers, even the Wizard, stuff that I need, the Spire Christian comics, stuff that's really cool, that's worth money, like the Crossfire number 12, and then a bunch of cool stuff that I got for the 50-cent bins. And so anyway, it was a great time was had by all. So I definitely recommend going to the store. Great experience. And as we saw with the X-Men 184s, the for the stuff that's priced in the actual back issue bins, prices are really good for all of that stuff too. So no complaints from me. Great store. Definitely recommend you check it out. So let me know what you think down below. Tell me if you want me to go through that Wizard or you don't care. Like I said, I hated Wizard at the time, but I thought it might be fun to look back at that slice of an era. And if you're waiting for the your mystery boxes, I'll be getting them out soon. I'm going to put these right in here, and hopefully next week life will have calmed down enough for me to actually get to the post office. But it's a good thing it didn't, because that delay has allowed me to find some more neat stuff for you. So thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.